Take a look at that. That thing is absolutely miniature. Oh, that's a good squid. Wow. Oh God. Alright, good morning everyone and welcome back. Today we're out here on the kayak. Obviously it is early morning, the sun is just about to come up and we are actually going to be squid fishing. Now, squid fishing this time of year for me is a very risky decision because the squid kind of disappear. This is the time of year where they really start to leave the bay and actually the cuttlefish start to move in. So today we're going to be targeting squid, but it could be a very, very tough session. And we might also pick up some cuttlefish along the way. Now we've got two rods out with us today. So we're going to be using two methods, obviously. One of them is going to be the float method with a silver whiting. You guys have seen that a whole heap in the past. But then on the other rod, we're actually going to be using some micro squid jigs. I picked up some size 1.8 jigs the other day. It's pretty much the smallest jigs I've ever used. So we're going to be trying those out as well. But first thing we'll do is just get up to our first spot and then we'll start fishing. A little bit colder than what I thought it was going to be this morning. It's going to be a very warm day, but at the moment it is freezing. So we'll get our first float out. We'll start our first drift along this area. And all we're going to be using is a baited silver whiting. This is pretty typical. You guys have seen this hundreds of times pretty much in the past. So we'll get this first one out and then we'll move on to the very interesting challenge and twist which we're going to put on today. That's going to be about 10 to 15 meters behind the kayak, and that's pretty much just going to follow our drift. We should drift along this way with the outgoing tide. The tide has just started going out, so we should drift back along this way and hopefully get a nice drift along the weed beds. Okay, this is where things start to get very, very interesting. So this is actually the squid jig which we're going to be using for today. I don't know if you guys can see, but it is absolutely tiny. It is actually a size 1.8 jig. And in comparison, this is the size jigs which I would typically use. 3.5 size jig compared to a 1.8. It is miniature, but hopefully today we'll be able to use it and maybe catch some squid. I've never used jigs this small in Western Port before. The current's going to be an issue, and also just the size class of squid which we usually get is pretty large. So that's why we typically use the larger jigs, and these are designed for the micros. But we'll see if the bigger squid are into the micro jig. Get it out of the packet. It is smaller than what I thought. Take a look at that. That thing is absolutely miniature. Let's rig it up and get a few casts out. So because it's a size 1.8, it's going to sink really, really slowly. So it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. And I don't know, I've never caught a squid on a jig this small before. It's going to be very difficult. We'll get a few casts around, and we do have the silver whiting which is following the kayak. So that's also got a good chance to pick up some squid. All right, we've just pushed in a little bit shallower, so we're in 3.8 meters of water. This is pretty much a challenge video because it is not really squid fishing season. It's going to be very tough in general, but on top of that, we're using a micro jig in very fast flowing water, and I'm not sure how this is going to go, but we'll get our first cast out and we'll see. We're going to have to let it sink for a lot longer than what I typically do. Usually I'd let it sink for probably 10 seconds, but with this 1.8, we might have to let it sink for like 15 to 20 seconds. So it's going to be a bit of a change. We'll kind of just let that float out and then start a little retrieve. So we'll start flicking that along the bottom. The good thing is that the really small squid will absolutely love this. So if there's any size squid at all, hopefully they'll be able to shoot over and grab it. I can't believe we're using a size 1.8 in Western Port. Oh, the float's under. The float's got one on. Well, we've got our first squid on, but it's not on the micro jig, it's actually on the float. That right there is an example of what the float looks like when there's a squid sitting on it. See how it's just slightly bobbing under? That didn't take long at all. There's definitely one on there too. Yep, that's a good squid as well. Come on. There he is. Oh, he let go. There he is. I can see him. He's on it again. Oh no, it's tangled. Come here. Look at him. Oh, is there two of them? Oh no, we got him, we got him. First squid of the day, and it is on the float. So this doesn't count for the micro jig. Look at him down there. He's actually not a bad squid at all. There we go. I will take that. that did not take long at all. And I'll tell you what, I wanted to do sashimi squid one day and he would be the absolute perfect size for it. Oh, I was reading up on sashimiing squid. If any of you guys have done it before, let me know, because I haven't really seen many people do it with this type of calamari. So I don't even know if it's safe. Like, I don't know if they have parasites or something like that. So I was gonna sashimi squid today, but I wasn't 100% sure. So I want to be confident before I do it, but let me know if you've ever tried sashimi calamari. Only a little fella, but as I said before, this time of year is very tough. We'll take any squid we can get. So I guess we'll do a little competition while we're at it. It is 1-0 in favour of the silver whiting against the micro jig. The silver whiting is pretty much the biggest of baits which you're going to use for squid. This thing is pretty much the smallest, so massive contrast, but surely there's going to be another one. So look at the tiny little jig. It is micro, absolutely micro. Oh, floats under again. Man, the float's killing us. Yeah, there's a squid on there. Oh, that's a good squid. There he goes. Oh, that's a good squid. Wow. Whoa. Whoa. Wasn't expecting to get any big squid today. Usually later in the season, like now, you only get smaller squid, but this is actually a pretty big squid. Yes. Yes, that is a very solid squid. Oi, oh yes, look at that. He's a quality one. As I was saying, typically this time of year, you don't really get the monster squid, but that is pretty much, that's a monster. He's a very, very quality one. So second squid, a very, very good one. Look how pretty these creatures are. Just amazing, amazing things. So let's get back in there with the micro jig. Come on, little buddy, you've got to get at least one. I mean, just look at the size of it. It's like half the size of my pinky. It is ridiculously, ridiculously small, but we've got to try get one. I'm on a mission. Well, I lied about the boats. There's definitely a few chasing squid now, but we've got two, so I'm not going to complain, and the conditions are absolutely perfect. Almost no wind. The water is extremely, extremely clear. I'm fishing in 4 meters at the moment, and I can see the bottom super, super easily. Perfect environment for these squid. We haven't caught any cuttlefish yet. Recently, when I've been fishing in this area, I've actually caught a couple cuttlefish, but so far we haven't caught any. We still definitely could get one, but haven't seen any cuttlefish yet. Oh, that's not a, that is a squid. I'm pretty certain that's a squid. Twice in a row, we just had a tap. There we go, it is a squid. We've got a squid following it, but he keeps hitting it and dropping it. Dude, it could be a cuttlefish. I think it's backwards. Yes, it is, oh my goodness. The only time we have one, it was backwards the whole time. You joke. Man, we just had one on the thingo, but the squid jig was actually tied up backwards. Come on, come back. He grabbed that so many times. There he is. There he is, we got him. I think it's a cuttlefish. Oh, it's either a big squid or a cuttlefish. I'm not too sure, but he came back. How was that? We had about 5 or 6 thuds in a row, but the squid was actually tangled up backwards, so we couldn't get him, but he came back. I think that's a cuttlefish. Oh, it is a squid. How cool is that? I thought it was a cuttlefish. My first ever squid on a size 1.8 jig. And he is a cracker. Oh, is that one below him? I didn't think he was that big. Look at that, he's got a 35+ centimetre hood. He's actually missing some of his tentacles as well. There we go, we've finally caught a squid on that micro jig, the size 1.8. And I'll tell you what, that's actually a really, really quality squid. Not a small squid by any means, the biggest one of the day probably. On the tiny little micro jig, we actually pulled it off. How cool is that? All right, let's get back into it. Been a surprisingly good start to today. 3 squid already, 2 big ones. See if we can get any more. There's a little bit of wind starting to pick up, but it's not meant to. It's meant to be very flat all morning, so hopefully it stays that way. There we go, that's one. On the 1.8 yet again. He's not on yet, he's just holding it. This one could be a cuttle. This one could definitely be a cuttlefish. What is it, cuttlefish or a squid? It is a cuttlefish. Called it. Called it. Man, this is the time of year where these things just come about. Little cuttles. They're full of ink. Absolutely full of ink. Very, very interesting creature. Oh God. There we go. He's gone. See you, little buddy. Those things are psychos. They have so much more power in their pullback and their jet propulsion than squid. They're just so much more powerful, and they hold a lot of ink. If you guys don't know, those cuttlefish can produce so much ink it's not even funny. Like, they're way worse than squid if they get you. So either way, that's pretty cool. 3 squid, 1 cuttlefish. Been here a couple times. I think I've caught 2 cuttlefish last time I was here, and then another one the time before that. So there's just been a heap of them around. Oh, we got one. There we go. Once again on the size 1.8 jig, it's made the comeback at the century. Is it a squid? It is. Little squid. This is the good thing about using little jigs. You can cast little squid. He's only a little fella, but damn. Come here. There we go. Take a look at him. The perfect little bait size squid. He's a miniature one, but we'll take him. Last cast. All right, everyone. Well, I reckon I'm going to call that a day. So it was actually a very, very successful little squid fishing mission. We're out here for about 4 hours and we managed the 5 squid and plus that 1 cuttlefish. So it was a very, very good day out in the end. And the main thing which we did was use this 1.8 size jig. So a micro jig, but we still managed to catch some squid. And it's not even the best time of year. So it was a good day out overall. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, leave a like and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.